see everybody is here today for our webinar with Natalija and Sonja. Super excited to be here. I'm going to do very little talking during this webinar, which is fantastic. I'm going to hand over to Sonja and Natalija very, very quickly. I just want to say a couple of opening remarks. So first of all, thanks so much for joining us. OKRs being one of the hottest topics right now in management and product development, Agile in the Agile world as well. And so you can imagine how thrilled we were that we were lucky enough to get Natalija and Sonja to author a book for us called OKRs At The Center from Sense and Respond Press. We've got a lot of short, practical, tactical books for modern business at Sense and Respond Press. And if you're interested about anything else that we published, you go to senseandrespondpress.com. But today we're super, super excited to talk about OKRs and specifically the book called OKRs At The Center by Natalija Hellesoe and Sonja Mewes, who are both with us here today. They're going to run the bulk of the show. I will do the Q&A moderation. If you've got any specific questions or technical challenges, feel free to ping me directly, privately in the chat. I will be able to take care of that while they are absolutely doing their presentation stuff. So with that, I'm going to hand over to Natalija and Sonja. Let them get started, and I'll see you back when we do Q&A on the other side of the presentation. Okay, take it away.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So, goals live at the center of everything that you do. That's a truth that many companies discover when they set out to work differently with goals in their organizations. Another thing they also discover is that working differently with goals might not be enough. Actually, other changes are necessary as well. The interesting point is where that leads to, because changing the way you work with goals has the potential to deliver tremendous benefits and actually drive ongoing change in your organizations, but only if you dare to make courageous decisions along the way. One framework or concept that many companies look at when they are on the discovery or the hunt for new ideas on how to change the way they work with goals to actually reach their benefit is OKRs, so objectives and key results. They probably stumbled upon all the great stories from Google and from other companies on how tremendous benefits that OKR brought to them, and I would like to set off the same path. One of them is Analytico, a small software as a service company that we met a couple years ago, and they stumbled upon OKRs and thought that could be a great concept to actually help them to reach their goal to drive value creation in their company. A couple iterations into the OKR process though, they realized that they are not even close to reaching the goal. So Megan, one of the managing directors at the company, reached out to us and asked us to support them in the next couple of OKR steps to come closer to actually reaching that goal. So when we met with them, they were not newbies. They've already had some experience with OKRs. And since there is no right way or wrong way to work with OKRs, the first thing we did was to actually create a shared understanding of what OKRs is about for us to begin with. So one of the key ideas that lies behind OKRs is that in most of the companies that we know and that probably you work in, there's some sort of long-term goal or vision. It could be written down in a purpose statement, could be a mission statement, could be some sort of focused business strategy. So that's where the company heads in the next 2, 5, or maybe even 20 years. And then on the other side, there are the employees doing their day-to-day business in their day-to-day projects and trying to achieve the smaller goals. And what is often the case is that in between this long-term vision and the day-to-day task management, there is this huge gap of missing orientation, of missing possibilities to actually prioritize what is the next important step then when we want to head towards our purpose. And that's where OKRs come in, because OKRs can actually bridge the gap between this long-term goal and the daily task management by giving orientation, what is the next important step. And how do they do that? They do that by combining an objective, so setting a goal, what is the next inspiring step that we want to achieve towards our purpose or vision, and combining that with measurable key results that gives the organizations the possibility to actually track whether they are on the right track to achieving this objective. And key results are not just one perspective of the objective. That's why we have 2 to 5 per objective, but they actually look at the objective from many different perspectives to give as many insights as possible, whether you are on the right track or not. But OKRs are actually a lot more than just a new way of setting goals with objectives and key results. The main idea behind that is that you work in an iterative cycle that shoots towards focus, learning, and ongoing and continuous development. So you start with the OKR definition, you define them for all the teams and departments in your company, align them across the entire organization so everyone knows what is their contribution towards this next inspiring step. And then you move further into a routine of continuous checkup and improvement. So for the OKR check-ins, they can happen weekly or bi-weekly. And here you actually gain insights whether you are on the right track towards achieving your objective that you set for a certain period in time. And then at the end of the cycle, or maybe even in between, you do a quick retrospective on what you achieved so far. So the results that you achieved in the set time frame, but then also you look at how did we work together during this OKR process? Is there anything that we can improve? Is there anything that we can adjust to be even more successful in the next step? And then you basically start back at the beginning and define the next inspiring step towards your vision to get even closer to achieving your long-term goal. So for us, OKRs are a lot more than just a new way of goal setting, but actually a concept that drives focus in your organization, a great tool to enhance communication and learning across your entire organization. And given that is the idea that also Analytico started off with. They saw these tremendous benefits. That's something that we definitely want to achieve in our company. And yet they fell short of their expectation. And that's why today we want to cover what the trap of high expectation around OKRs is actually about by sharing an example of our own experience that finally led us to a different approach on how to work with OKRs in the long run. And then we will discuss how you can then use this knowledge and the insights that we're sharing to drive change in your organization by looking at OKRs differently and improving them on your individual OKR journey. So far to the potential, but maybe a short introduction. Who's actually talking to you today? Jeff already said we're the authors of OKRs at the Center, the new book from Sense and Respond. So my name is Natalija Hellesoe. I'm based in lovely Munich, Germany, and I view OKRs through a lens of a long history working in HR and project management and change and transformation. So kind of bringing all the pieces together that form transformation efforts in organizations. And I've got my partner with me, Sonja. You still in mute?
Yeah, I'm Sonja Mewes. I was the lucky one writing the book with Natalija together. And I brought in perspectives from my experiences in being responsible for digital products, digital strategies, and also in intercultural communication. So we had a wide range of perspectives that went into the book and now to this session. Maybe before we get into more interaction, one or two organizationals first. The session is called a webinar, and we also called it meetups. And we definitely want to have it more interactive than a usual meetup. So we are planning to have breakout sessions where you can interact and reflect with other participants and hopefully learn a lot this way. So be prepared to actually take part in this session. And for this, it would be really great if you could turn on your camera and your audio if we have these interaction sessions, that we can really connect with each other, because it's definitely more helpful when you see the other person. And in the meantime, mute yourself unless you share something what you also can do in this session. We are going to record the session. As Jeff already mentioned, there will be a YouTube channel from Sense and Response, or there is a YouTube channel where you can find the video. If you stay in the session, you automatically agree. So this is for your information. And then we will share the link for the recording, the book, the slides, and the mural board you're going to see later after the session with all of you. So now, who's with us today? The second important part of interaction next to our introduction. We are definitely keen to know who's in the session at the moment. So if you want to just quickly write your name or company, city, country, where you're from at the moment, that would be very, very great to know, so that we know with whom we are talking today. You find the Zoom chat in your Zoom bar, and this little chat icon, if you click on this chat icon there, you can introduce yourself. Okay.
I already see we've got people from Germany, from Sweden, hello to Amsterdam, to Copenhagen, to Røros in Norway, to Düsseldorf, Brisbane in Australia, hello on the other side of the world. And many, many other folks to join us here for this session today. Welcome.
So even more, Barcelona, Australia, hello, India. So a very international group here. That's great. So really welcome to everyone. We're around 100 people at the moment in this session. And we do have another question for you. As we're such a large group here, we would love to have a sneak into your experiences with OKR in terms of is OKR a new interesting concept for you, or do you already have like years of experience that you could maybe also bring in today for some questions and answers later. Therefore, we prepared a poll. So the poll will just pop up right now on your screen. If you don't see the poll at the moment, maybe you can find it in your Zoom bar on the bottom as well, where some orange icon should pop up. It could be that for some of you, the poll is not working. So if you feel free to share your experiences. So are you like a rookie or a beginner, or you have X years of experience in the chat?
Yeah, I already see a lot of votes coming in. We're close to everyone on board. So let's just give it a final minute for the last votes to settle, and then we'll share the result. All right, I think 94% of votes, that's a lot better than our governments do. I think we can just close off the poll for now and share the results. So who's with us today?
So a wide range, obviously. Some rookies, some beginners, and then also the other half of people that can bring in their experiences or even longer experiences. That's great, great to know. And I hope for those of you in the rookie or beginner area, the first thoughts Natalija just has been showing and sharing are good enough as a starting point and as a foundation for today's session, where we want to dive deeper into some of those topics. And actually, as we mentioned, there will be a Q&A after our intro, where we want to discuss with you about like your questions and experiences, how OKR can drive change. And this is exactly the right word. So change, this was the topic where that Analytico was asking us to help them. And we were like really very excited because, I mean, obviously helping to create value, what could be better, right? So we started to work with them. We started to work, Megan organized an OKR definition workshop with their team, and we helped facilitating. So we met in a large room this time, no remote work has been at this time. So We prepared the room with their purpose, vision, mission, values, and strategies. Because as Natalija mentioned, if OKR is the next step towards your vision, it's obviously a good idea to have them visible, to then think together what could be our next step. We've been together with the team and helped them facilitating their OKR session. And with a lot of facilitation methods, they created many ideas and results, what could be their objectives and their key results. We, for example, then helped them from, if they had like tasks in mind, we helped them with different techniques like the Ask Why technique to kind of help them uncover the true meanings that are behind their ideas, so that they can like really find objectives that describe value and that describe a behavioral change. In the session, it was like really hot inside because it was a hot summer day, but also there have been really many hot discussions, so to say. The team had really struggled to find a common understanding of what of all those ideas is like really important for the next step. There have been a lot of emotions in the group, and it took quite a while. So after 4 hours with a lot of sweat and emotions, we finally made it together, and they find an objective that actually describes value, because it describes behavior of their clients. They wanted to enable learning on the go for their services as their objective. And they found measurement criteria, which was really hard to find with them. And because they don't have so much criteria we could build upon. But then they defined like the first key result, that the mobile user share should rise to 80%. The learning success quote should rise to 90%, and all their new ideas should be developed for a mobile vision first. And if they would achieve all those key results, they would know that they are on the right track and then later achieved their goal. So everybody has been quite happy. Megan has been happy with us. We have been really happy as well. So far, so good. But as you can imagine, there's something behind it here, because just some days later, after the workshop, actually the first questions appeared. And Megan shared this thought with us that she now suddenly feels really insecure, because she realized with this goal, she does not know anymore, like, what are the people really doing now to achieve this goal? So her insecurity has been risen. And at the same time, the people from the team also asked themselves, well, that's a nice goal, that sounds good, but actually, what now is like my part in it? What is my contribution here? What are our tasks that we should do? And well, they have been so insecure that it turned out later, they never went on with this OKR set, this beautiful OKR set, but kind of set it aside and went back to their task-based OKR planning that they had before. So as you can imagine, our mood changed abruptly as well when we realized the situation. And also we realized, well, actually it's not that simple. We looked at the goals with them in the workshop and we really pushed them hard for value creation. But actually we forgot to consider the whole organization. We forgot to like check and consider how value-based their strategy was. How good are they with their task management? How are their values and norms, structures and processes, ways of working, their benefit system, their skills, their roles and responsibilities? Are they really like set up for value creation actually? And because, well, this is something, an aha moment we then just had, because we realized that all those organizational elements are interlinked, and you cannot like do something different with one of the organizational elements if the rest is kind of not matching. So for Analytico, we realized we did a good job in facilitating, even if it was hard, but at the same time, they actually had no value-based strategy as a foundation to then verify that the OKRs make sense. So they had some insecurities there as well. And obviously they had kind of no appreciation of value over activities, because like the team members, they suddenly missed their tasks that have been written down as an instrument kind of to prove that they like do good work. So this is actually the moment, like for Analytico, kind of nothing changed. Even if they wanted to change and they wanted to become more value driven. But this point would be the point to link back to courageous decision that Natalija has been mentioned before, as it would definitely need quite a lot of courageous decisions to change like your and act for your whole organization to make your goals with value creation possible.
So the story that we just heard about Analytico is just one of the many, many cases that we experienced throughout the years that we worked together with companies around OKRs. It's a unique set of benefits that they wanted to achieve with OKRs, and it's a unique set of challenges that came along their way when trying to achieve those benefits. And that's actually the case for every single company out there. No OKR journey is the same. No OKR benefits are the same than the other. No OKR challenges are the same as the other. And that's actually one key aspect that we also discuss in the book, that you need to find your individual OKR journey. But where do you actually start then? Knowing that you need to find your journey, you need to design your individual journey, and you need to tackle your own individual challenges. Well, one point to start off with, and we find that very important, is to first of all define what do you actually want to achieve with OKRs. It sounds simple, but whoever has been through the process of really tackling that and really making that concrete has realized it might not be that simple altogether. One benefit that many companies want to achieve when they work with OKRs, as we heard in the Analytico case, is value creation. Many others that came across over the years are, for example, to drive focus, to foster better alignment throughout the organization, to have people really knowing their contribution along the way, maybe also to foster more autonomy in the teams, to give more decision power down along the hierarchy, or to show meaningful contribution. Because for many people these days, it's not enough to just do any kind of project if they don't have a link to something good that comes out of it, something meaningful that they can get up for every day. Or last but not least, also maybe to enhance faster learning cycles, to be able, like in today's uncertain times, to learn faster, to adapt faster to changing environments. So actually defining where you want to go with OKRs, what you want to achieve, is an important starting point. So that's a question, no matter if you already started to work with OKRs or if you're already along the track, what do you actually want to achieve with OKRs? What benefits are you shooting towards? What are the North Stars that are guiding your individual OKR journey? But then at the same time, as we said, every journey is different. What is your actual starting point? So how good are you at achieving these benefits right now? Are you just at the beginning, or did you already make a couple important steps towards your journey? And when you combine these two, so what are you trying to achieve with OKRs and where do you stand right now? It brings up your change potential with OKRs. And that's for us the first important kind of landmark to figure out where can my journey actually start and what can I look for as landmarks to design my OKR experience according to my organization's needs. So how do we actually do that? Well, we would like to try that out in a short interaction with you guys, because all of you are probably here because you're interested to work with OKRs or are already doing that for a couple months or maybe even a couple years, as you shared in the poll earlier. And so for a short group session, we would like to ask the question, what are your desired OKR benefits and how good are you at achieving those benefits at the moment? You can look at the 6 benefits that we just mentioned that many companies bring up in their first discussion, but maybe it's something totally different for you. So please just share whatever it is. And for that, we will invite you into small group sessions with 4 or 5 people in each group. Please enable audio and camera for that. We'll set a time box for 8 minutes to give you enough time to actually share your experiences, share your benefits, and then also how good you are at achieving those at the moment. And then we'll bring you back into the main room so that we can just reflect a little on your insights before we continue with some tips on how you can drive change in your organization. So what will happen in a minute is you will find a pop-up window when Jeff will send you off to the breakout rooms. Please click here on join the breakout room. And then when you're in the session, you can always ask for help through the ask help button at the bottom if something is not working right. And then we'll be back together here in 8 minutes to continue with the session.
Perfect. So the rooms are ready to go. I've opened up all the rooms now, and they're set for 8 minutes, and we'll see you when you get back there.
So for everyone who can still hear us, there should be a little pop-up window that you can click on to join the breakout room. If you don't see that right now, there should also be a little icon at the bottom of your Zoom toolbar with 4 little quadrants, and you can also click on that and then join a breakout room for that.
Yep. And so the folks who are not assigned, I'm just going to drop you off randomly into rooms. So I hope it works out okay. I'm going to put you in rooms where there are not enough people. Here's one here. This is fun. I'm just dropping people off randomly, and I don't even know where, to be perfectly honest.
We also, oh, sorry.
Everybody's been invited at this point. So anybody who's on the call has been invited. And so
we also shared the question in the chat again. So maybe Jeff, if you can share the question with the participants in the sessions again, that would be great.
You got it. It's just the question is too long. So
yeah, it's probably
so
2 messages or something.
Okay, there's one. Excellent.
And if there are any folks stuck here in the main room due to whatever technicalities, we're also happy to just take the discussion up here in the main room and use that as one type of a breakout group to get some of your insights.
And so everybody's been assigned again, and I should have an invitation to join a room. So if you're still in here and would like to hang out with us, perfectly okay. If you'd like to join a smaller group discussion, you have that option as well.
Maybe if you can't do audio at the moment, you could also answer the question from the chat, via chat, so that we could read your situation or experiences.
Alex wants help to in breakout room 2. Shall I send one of you to breakout room 2?
Yep, you can send me.
Okay. Okay. I have to find you. I don't know where you are. You've been. I'm sorry. Who said I can send you?
Sonja.
Sonja said that.
Sonja. Yeah. All right. Let me find Sonja, and I don't know where. Do you know what breakout room I invited you to, Sonja?
No.
Okay.
So
19. 19.
19. Excellent. I'm sending you to breakout room 2. Good luck.
Thank you.
Did you get the invitation, Sonja? Yes.
Yeah, looks like she's on their way, on her way. Great. And for those of you who can still hear us, the others will be back in a couple minutes, and then we'll continue the session and open the floor for Q&As.
Cool. And as people kind of keep popping in and out, I just keep kind of offering them the opportunity to join open rooms. And so rooms with a space. And so that's jumping in there as well.
So I'm back. They just wanted to have the question again.
Which I broadcast into the rooms as well, so hopefully that helps a little bit.
Okay, great.
If you're still in here with us and you got a question for Natalija or Sonja, this is your opportunity as well.
So how much time do we have left, Jeff?
There are 2.5 minutes left.
Okay.
In the rooms themselves, yeah. And yeah. And my sense is that since so many people tried to join and we were maxed out, we'll probably end up doing another one of these and just offer more seats so we can do a second edition of this webinar as well. You two seem to be very popular. That's a good place to be. And so I think that's something we'll let our everybody know and make sure that they can get in, especially those folks who couldn't get in today. And of course, we'll make the recording available as well. Cool. About 2 minutes left or so. Next time too, we'll do a live YouTube stream, which is something that I was trying to make happen while you were presenting earlier. And it takes apparently 24 hours of internet time to be approved to do that, instead of just being able to do it on the fly. So, you know, inspect and adapt, as they say in the Agile world. Ship, sense, and respond. Build, measure, learn. Think, make, check. Whatever you like to call it. That's what we're doing here today. Okay. With a minute left in the breakout rooms, if anybody's joining the call now, I'm not going to assign you to a breakout room. I think it would be kind of pointless to send you to a breakout room for a minute. So. But 10 seconds left. I'm just going to hit close on the rooms now. That'll give everybody 30 seconds to get out of the room. So 30 seconds left, and then we will get everybody back here. And it's back to you.
So welcome back, everybody.
Yeah, welcome back. So I'll just give everyone a minute or two to come back and join us in the main room.
That should be everybody at this point, as you see them sort of populating the screen here.
Yeah, so welcome back. Hello again.
Hi, welcome back.
We hope you had fruitful discussions in your little international teams around what your desired OKR benefits are, how good you are at achieving them at the moment, and maybe some sidetrack discussions that stem from that. So since we're a lot of people on the call, unfortunately, we cannot just go around the table and ask for everyone's insights, but we would love to do that via the chat. So if you just open the chat window, if you haven't already done so, and just share your aha moments or some insights or sidetrack discussions that you shared with your fellow team members in the breakout rooms, that would be awesome. Then we can just all have a look at and see where the discussions went and what you took out of them. So we see a lot of popular benefits to use OKRs for driving focus, alignment, and learning. Clear expectations. Yeah, we're always good at setting expectations for OKRs. Simple to understand, but really hard to apply. I think that's a pretty fundamental truth around OKRs. The idea behind it is really simple, but if you've ever tried to implement that in a large scale organization,
focus and continuous
points of it.
Focus and continuous learning are popping up quite often.
Moving from output to outcome driven teams, very often benefit that companies try to achieve as well. The importance of transparency and alignment. Changing role of HR. Happy to see that in here as well. Not always easy and pretty challenging, yes. I think that also ties neatly into what we shared in our little story with Analytico here today, that, as you pointed out, the idea is rather simple, the implementation is not. And along your way on your OKR journey, you'll find a lot of unique challenges that you need to tackle in terms of actually making it work and actually achieving those desired benefits. And that's actually also what our book is about, to just look at different cases, different scenarios of organizations with their individual starting points, their individual benefits, and how they can then neatly design their OKR experience, connected to their challenges and what they're trying to achieve. And so thanks for sharing all your insights around that. And maybe then to sum it up before we open the floor towards our Q&As, that is really what our approach is also about and what we tried out over the last couple of years. So to actually, nail it down to the truth that goals are embedded in the whole organization, and that even if you think you can just exchange the concept of how you work with goals, that will not be enough to actually transform your organization and drive ongoing change. But you need to take into account this interdependency of goals and all the other organizational elements that you have in your organization and play them together, so to speak. So working with OKRs can get you that far, but then you need to make other changes to actually bring out even more potential from frameworks like OKRs. And how can you do that? By starting with what you actually want to achieve with them, to have absolute clarity around that in your organization, to look at where you start at right now. What is your culture like? What is your leadership like? What can you achieve at this moment in time? So develop or identify your change potential, and then have the point ready to design your OKR journey according to it. So adjust the cycle times, adjust the roles, adjust everything that is in there to actually fit towards your benefits and your individual needs. And for a lot of practical ideas, have a look at our book to discuss the different cases. But since we're also here today together in this webinar, and we'll have 20 minutes left, we would love to open the floor now to your individual questions and discussions to at least get some practical tips and ideas across to you as our audience. And with that, we'll hand over to you, Jeff.
Excellent. All right. So I've been picking up the questions from the group as I can, and there's a lot of them already, as you can imagine. We've got about 20 minutes left in the webinar, so let's get to them and get your thoughts. The first question is this: what happens if the vision and strategy of the company is not clearly defined, and on top of that, what if there are no clear KPIs to link our OKRs?
maybe I can start answering this. So this is always a question where we are like, I think there's no right or wrong answer here again, because we're thinking like, if the vision and the strategy is not so clear, you will definitely have like disadvantages that you will feel during your OKR definition, for example. It will feel like it kind of, the boundaries are missing if you don't have a good vision and strategy. And then your OKR definition process will maybe be like endless and really emotional, because you don't have the clear boundaries to like come up with good ideas fast. But then the question is, can you not work with OKRs when you don't have a good strategy? And we often see that it's still good to then start and to kind of have it mirrored, that during the OKR process you realize that the vision and the strategy is not like good enough to really define concrete steps towards this direction. So it's often helpful that like really the top management team will realize the situation. If you would just say it to them, as we sometimes do, like, well, your strategy might be not that clear. They're like, well, what? Our strategy? It's like, it's the best strategy ever. And like during like doing it, even if it's not so good, it might like be an impulse for change and realization for a lot of them. So this for the first question. And the second, the KPIs. Again, yeah, the question is, do you have the measurement criteria of the topics you actually want to measure? And well, the more criteria you have, the better for sure. But then maybe it's again an impulse if you discuss and think like, oh, we should have this in that measurement criteria, but you don't have it now, to then just start using it, like to start like kind of setting it up, to set up the next and the next measurement criteria. So it's again an impulse. And also maybe sometimes you just don't have the measurement criteria, and then you go maybe with milestone-based key results. And this is maybe fine for you as well.
And maybe just to add on to that, yeah, that kind of process can lead to another objective. So many companies we work with, they don't have the data-driven processes that they would like to actually define good key results, but maybe that can actually be a first inspiring step towards your vision, to then start to collect data, start to define KPIs, look out for great examples in your company, because often companies realize that there's a lot more out there if they just start to make use of the data available. So that can even, you know, be a great impulse for your OKR sets to include this first step, to then adjust it and even improve in the next iteration.
Great. Okay. Next question. So this is interesting. This is a question about scale. So how do you properly organize OKRs in large product organizations with tens of product teams and maybe thousands of employees, right? How do you start to scale this up?
Yeah, good question. I think there are different approaches towards that depending on, the starting point of the organization. So I would say one way is to go, kind of agile about it and just test it out in the first teams, you know, gain some experience, what works in your context, what works in your environment with your leadership and so on, and then start to scale it from there once you have an idea of what the OKR system that you need in your company actually needs to look like. And then of course, if you go bigger, it totally makes sense that you have at least, a couple landmarks on what does OKRs mean for us? What are like the most important ideas that we share? Do we need, for example, a common cycle time, or what are other elements that just need some common understanding in the organization? And how much freedom can we then leave up to the teams in the long run? But that's something that organizations, I think, need to find out for themselves. That's why, an agile iterative way to go about that, with some pilots first, maybe a whole department, and then scaling it from there, works great, because you learn on the go. And you will already have a lot of insights once you get to the point where you actually scale it from the organization. Of course, you can also choose another way. Maybe Sonja, you want to illustrate other versions?
Well, I mean, you know, like for those of you who know like old or classical change management plans. This is also a plan, right? It's like how change is happening with all the topics. It's simply the same with OKR. So you could also go like all in with a lot of support probably, and a lot of preparation. But I'm also wondering if the question might be something like, how does an alignment process work when you define OKRs? And I think what we see from companies that are really huge, that they kind of really break down the areas in smaller areas, so that it's not 20 levels to kind of cascade the OKRs down, but that it's more like if you have, for example, like 4 big departments, to only like start OKRs from the department and then like go down 3 levels. So you already kind of like saved a lot of time and alignment effort. So making smaller boxes is one way. And then again, the big philosophical question is probably anyway, can like really large organizations learn fast as OKRs like want to help you in doing it, like right, setting goals every quarter? We know quite some organizations that actually ended that do not work with the concept of OKR anymore, because it took them like half a year to kind of end their first definition process, and then it's just like the next half year, and they never got into the speed moment. And I think you can only come into the speed moment or situation when you really cut down the pieces.
Yeah, and I think one of the questions I think is interesting as you start to scale, right? Is how does every team have its own OKRs, or is it every business unit or a set of teams? Because one of the risks that I know that I've seen, and I'm sure some other folks have seen as well, is that when you assign a team an OKR, and especially, and there's a question later about performance management, but if you tie performance management into it, then I'm going to optimize very locally, right? You gave me an OKR, I'm working towards those KRs, right? And I don't really care what's happening over there to my right or to my left, because I'm, that's my incentive. My incentive is to fix this thing, even if optimizing my KRs negatively impacts other teams, right? And I think that's part of the challenge of scale. Have you seen any techniques that help deal with that when it comes to scale?
Definitely. So that's actually one of the first challenges or roadblocks that many companies discover when they set out on their OKR journey, is how do performance management and incentives tie into that? And so what we can definitely share is that the further along you are in actually rewarding team efforts and collaboration efforts in your company. And what we mean by that is not to say teamwork is a high value that we have in our company, but to actually incentivize it. The easier you will have it in terms of achieving goals with OKRs. So one way would be to not tie compensation and rewards to OKRs at all, because then exactly that happens what Jeff just pointed out. So one company I worked in with OKRs as an employee, they ditched the individual bonuses before they implemented OKRs. They moved to a broader model, and they didn't tie OKRs to performance reviews whatsoever, because they wanted to create an atmosphere where you can really shoot for long-term goals that are kind of moonshootish as OKRs should be, and then tie the performance aspect to a team effort. And so I think the more that you cut off these cords between performance, compensation, and maybe even budgeting and the actual long-term vision and goals that you're trying to achieve, the easier it will be. So that has to do with maybe what one person mentioned in the chat. What is the role of HR and the HR processes, and maybe also the maturity in terms of moving here towards team efforts, more autonomy in the teams, and does that have a good foundation for OKRs? Anything to add here, Sonja?
No.
Okay. Good. So that's excellent. Thank you. Next question. This is going to be a popular one. There's a couple of questions sort of hinting at this. How do you link OKRs with a product roadmap?
Yeah, that's definitely a popular question.
Mm.
And coming from the angle of how can OKR drive change? Probably you should bring, so from a process perspective, you should definitely bring your roadmap that is maybe looking 1 year into the future to your OKR workshop, and then kind of like interact with this. And after you define your OKR, kind of link back to the product roadmap and adapt and change. If you look on your new priorities and maybe check if like what on the roadmap is not on the roadmap anymore or should not be on the roadmap anymore. So this from a process perspective. But then I think in terms of change and in terms of maturity, if you are, for example, looking for value creation and you go for this kind of value-driven OKRs we just mentioned in the example, and at the same time, you have, for example, a fixed roadmap where you plan your activities 1 year in advance. This will not work together, right? Because your value-driven goal just says something like, we want to enable our service on the go. What we do, is it a mobile app? Is it a Snapchat group? Whatever is still like open. So you definitely would kind of need to work with more theme-based roadmaps. So this is probably some like cultural thing already. And then in your theme-based roadmap, where you have this this now column, so to say, this now column should represent what you're going to do to achieve your OKR in this quarter or in this cycle.
Got it. Great. Let's see. What are some tips for keeping your KRs realistic but challenging? How do you get that balance right?
Yeah, that's a good point as well. So I think many companies have probably read about this. Is 70 the new 100%, or is it a moonshot, or is it not? I think for me, the most important point is to actually have clarity around that. So what are you trying to cover in your OKRs? Should it be goals that are really attainable in the time frame that you set, or should it be something really shooting for the stars that give orientation? And then it would mean that, well, maybe 70, 80%, if you turn up there, that would be more than enough. So many companies that we work with, they actually define something like that in their OKR system. So saying, for example, that we try to shoot for the stars. So our OKRs are super ambitious. So that would mean that if we turn up at 70, 80%, that's good enough. But it might also be that for a certain period of time, like for example, right now, if business is really tight, you face a lot of challenges, you might change that setting to just say, okay, now we need attainable goals because this is what we actually need to achieve right now to stay in business or whatever. So this might not be the time to shoot for stars in terms of innovation and whatnot. But so one tip could be to just have that clarity, have the communication around what you're trying to do with OKRs, so people also know when they read the OKRs of, for example, other teams or departments, how to interpret them correctly.
And maybe to add on this from a change perspective again, this is definitely something that you will learn in your team, what fits best for you and your team. And we, for example, also figured that it's sometimes a cultural issue as well. And if you are, for example, together in an intercultural team, and for one person, for example, a German person, they would always go for like 100% is 100%. What do you want me to, like, why do you say like 70% is 70% and then there's 100% as a moonshot? Because they are just so correct and perfect that they maybe need some time to get used to the concept and understand the advantages. So it's a learning topic. But then again, maybe for like American citizens or like just to give an example. Like the moonshot is just so natural that it's totally fine for them. And it's again, it's a learning topic, and it's important to talk about it in your team to just have the clarity about it, I think, and then learn how to, like, did it work for you or not in your OKR reflection? Like, and then summarize the learning and try to act on this learning for your next cycle.
Got it. We don't have a lot of time. Sorry, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually the thing that I wanted to say as well. The timing.
Okay. Yeah, so we're almost out of time at this point. And so any closing comments, Natalija and Sonja, from you?
Yeah, sure. So we've got a lot of open questions left, but we want to make at least a little time for some takeaways. So Sonja.
Yep. So a lot of those topics, I mean, so back to the book. We did not write a book that explains everything about OKR and gives like all open answers that are here in the chat as well. We focused on how OKR can drive change actually, and how you can like learn about your organization while using OKR. What also what you might need to change in your organization as well. So we would be happy if this topic is interesting for you, and if you maybe had already some aha moments from our first sneak into the book. And if you read the book, we are really happy if you want to give us a review on Amazon. And we also thought maybe we could announce that we would, if you could win one of 3 remote OKR consulting hours with us about your individual OKR and change questions. And if you're under the first 20 reviews, and just send us a screenshot via LinkedIn of your review, and you're in the game. So this is maybe something again around the book. So we just discussed, like, the book is a little shorter than the picture says, so it's a 15 minutes read. So it's a short book, as all the short books are with Sense and Respond Press. And yeah, let's stay connected. If you have more questions, if you want to get into dialogue with us, we are happy to meet you in our regular meetups or in training sessions or wherever. And we would also be very interested what your takeaways have been so far from this hour. So it would be great to hear if you had some insight or aha moment or inspiration you could already take for yourself for today. And yeah, we would be happy to read it in the chat.
Excellent. And as you're typing those in the chat, I'll say this, we maxed out on 100 people for this meeting, so fantastic. Good problem to have is that there's more demand than supply today. I will send Sonja and Natalija all the questions that didn't get answered, and we'll figure out how to get those answers to you. What we'll likely do is probably just do another one of these in a few weeks and expand the capacity, and also figure out how to do the YouTube live stream. We're learning, we're getting better at this. In any case, this has been recorded and will be shared in the next week or so on the Sense and Respond Press YouTube channel as well. And we're super thrilled to have this book out in the world. We hope you get a chance to buy it and read it and post some reviews for us as well. Let us know how well we're doing as well. So thanks so much, Natalija and Sonja. This was really great. Thanks for joining, folks. And we'll see you at the next one of these, yeah?
Thank you very
Have a
much.
great rest of your day.
Thank you.